Hey guys, how's things? How you doing? Hope everybody is doing well and, you know, ready for the holidays. This is honestly about as uh Christmas cheery as I get. I do love making Christmas cards. So what I'm thinking is that I wanted to do like 12 days of Christmas cards. So I'm gonna do my best. And we'll see what happens. Um, I may consolidate a couple days into one video, but so first day, Christmas cards. I wanted to I've done this before where I just cut out, um, just pieces of colored cardstock or different Christmas papers, into triangle shapes, glue them on a card face and a sentiment and call it a Christmas card. But I have tons of watercolor papers where, maybe I've just done swatching on them or just playing around with inks and um, even like, your jelly print failures or backgrounds that maybe didn't turn out exactly how you wanted. Don't throw them away. You can save them. You can use them. I've just got a whole box full of all kinds of different papers that, sometimes you just want to play with color. And so, I always save these because you never know, right? I mean, it's like a huge box full. So, anyway, so I pulled out some of those and so grab whatever, kinds of papers that you might think about throwing away, or you could create some new ones. And I got really inspired last night and I started just making all of these, um, you know, papers. And because I really loved how these ones turned out, these little Christmas tree shapes. So, anyway, so pull some of those out, cut them into random size triangle shapes, Christmas tree shapes. You might want to, take stock of what size card faces you're using. I don't like the way that one turned out, but um, try not to cut make sure that your triangles will fit on your card face. But even if they don't, that's okay. It looks pretty cool when you like kind of cut them off the top. Like some of these wound up being a little bit tall, but even if you wind up cutting the top off with this layering, they still look really cool. Anyway, so cut up a whole bunch of triangles and then pull out your circle punches. Oh, that's not a circle. um, I tried to find, I mean, I pulled out every circle punch I have. If you have any of these ones that are made for thick paper, these are great for watercolor paper because they will cut through anything. This is probably the largest circle punch I have. I think that one's like almost 3 inches. I've got a 1.5, got a 1 inch. Even have one of these smaller, thick paper. I think that's a 1 inch. And then even just these little tiny ones, you can cut circles with those. Anyway, so just cut out a bunch of circles. And if you have other like Christmas ornament shapes, definitely those will work too. I do have a couple of stars, but I only have two sizes. So I might do some with stars, but I think it would be better if I had a couple other shapes of stars. And of course, you could always just cut them out like with scissors. You don't have to use the circle punch. I just like the circle punch because it's easy. So anyway, so I just cut out a whole bunch of different size circles, okay, and put them in a can. If I don't use them all this year, I'll use some next year. Anyway, so then I've really been enjoying using these more kind of muted tones, more like natural tones of paper. And a lot of that is because I have a lot of mixed media paper that are in different, like natural tones. Okay, even black. Um, you guys know, I love paper. So I'm just really attracted to these kind of tones right now. And plus, I have a bunch of craft envelopes. And so, any of these will go well with the craft paper. Um, Obviously white would go well with it too. So whatever you want to use, but use what you have. Anyway, so let's do let's do one on black. Um, so I just pull out, I mean, I've kind of been doing them where they sort of match, where they came from the same paper, but they don't have to. I mean, you could use like a whole combination of different ones, you know. Um, Try to find some that are different sizes. I would say at least three, because that's gonna, I think, really be the best as far as composition goes. So let's see. I'm gonna just do a bunch of these green. There's a little tiny one, and there's one in between. Okay, so I'm gonna do 5 on this one. So these will be our ornaments. And so the smaller ones are gonna be, you know, further in the background. Um, Now, I was playing around with the idea of, doing like a light color wash in the background, and then layering the ornaments on top of that light color wash on the paper first. But I don't know. I might try a couple more and see how they turn out. If they do, then I'll show you how they turned out later on, but maybe in the next video. Anyway, so I think it just looks really nice just on a plain solid color background. Okay, so what I've learned is that this is the most effective when you layer them on top of each other just a little bit. It helps convince the eye that the smaller ones are further back. So rather than just having them all kind of like that, where none of them are really touching, I think it's most effective if you layer them. So that really pushes this one back. Um, and then we can just and you have to just play around with your composition and see what you like. So I sort of like that. These kind of look like planets. Okay, so then we'll just start adding these. Just glue them down if you can get your glue to work. Why does this always happen? All right. So I'll glue this one here. And then I'm going to move that one off to the side. If you are using glue on black paper, I would recommend not putting your glue all the way out to the edge of your paper because it's gonna smush out from the edges. So I'm gonna wait to attach that one, but I am gonna do this one. Okay, and then these two, I'm gonna use these are so old, you guys. I've had these for so long. I think since the last time I was making mass quantities of Christmas cards. So I'm just going to add one, a little foam dot, a foam square to the back of this one. And this will make it even more convincing that this one is in front, right? Maybe I'll add two on this one. And just make sure that that one overlaps a little bit. There we go. So right now it just looks like a bunch of circles glued onto a piece of paper, but we can add the little hangers. So, a million different ways that you can do this. My favorite way is to use metallic paint or glittery paint. And this is this is a little set of watercolors that I bought off of an Etsy shop a couple years ago, and it is obviously, as you can see, her Christmas set. The name of the company is Iuli, and I might have shown this to you guys before, but that's how it's spelled, Iuile. And she just makes beautiful handmade metallic type watercolors. And I've had this set, like I said, for a couple years, and it's still going strong. So I'm just going to use like a liner brush, and I think I'll use gold. You could do this with a gel pen, um, or something like that, or if you have like a metallic, um, you could even just use a white, acrylic paint pen, but I like the paint. This is just making it more sparkly. Okay, get that activated. And then I'm going to turn this upside down because it's just easier for me to see. Oops. So I'm going to do the string for that one, but I have to kind of imagine where it comes from. And I'm not taking it all the way up off the edge of the paper. Okay. So there's our little strings. And then get another pretty small little brush, and then I'm just gonna do a really simple little, just like a little rectangular sort of shape right at the top. And I put a little bit of it on the ornament, and then I pull it out onto the background just a tiny bit. And I think that just makes it a little bit more convincing. Doesn't have to be perfect, obviously. And there we go. I just think they look really cute, you know? So there's another way that I like to do the strings where you take, where's one that I did before? Take a, like a gel pen, and then instead of just doing that little rectangle, you can do um, like a wire ring at the top, because you know the old school like Christmas ornaments where you know, half the time you had to use a paper clip to hang them on the tree. And those little wires were always getting lost and stuff. Anyway, so just put a little circle, put your little rectangle on, add a little circle, and then two little loops, one loop on each side, and then a string kind of hanging down as if you know, tied a little ribbon or something um, onto that metal ring on the ornament, and then just kind of drag it down the ornament. And I think that looks really pretty. So that's another way to add your strings. So that's one little card. And then for the Christmas trees, you know, decide, I mean, you could also do these ornaments in a portrait view too, which I think looks really nice. Um, so let's do these Christmas trees in the landscape view. I think this is pretty self-explanatory, but so let's see. I want to show you guys what I was talking about where, you know, you can let one of them kind of extend past the top of the card. So when you're cutting out your triangle shapes, don't throw away the ones that are on the very edge where, you know, you just have a straight edge like that, because those work really well right on the edge of your paper. I'm going to cut this one just a little bit shorter though. There, that's going to work. I'm going to let this one go all the way off the top. Cut this one a little shorter too. And I want another little skinny one. Oh, how about a little teeny tiny one? Oh, I like this one with that darker green. Okay. So this one I'm going to glue down. See, this was a paper that, you know, I had played with before, and then, you know, I just did some crazy background type of painting on the front, or on the back actually. So I'm just kind of gonna, you could use like a pencil and just draw in like a line across the bottom here, um, to help ensure that your trees are all at the same, height. I like to, leave a little bit of a border at the bottom because I want to add the little pots. So let's take this one, and I want to cut the top of it off. There we go. And you might think that looks really weird, but I think I don't know, I think it's effective. So it's a little bit of glue. Okay, and then this one. I'm going to make this one just a tiny bit shorter. I think it looks best when your trees are sort of different heights. I'm actually going to overlap that one just a little bit over this one. One might be a little too small. Hold the phone. Let's see. About that height. There, that's perfect. Okay, and then again, I'm going to use the little squares or dots or whatever. So it's also nice just to try to use an odd number, just because for compositional reasons, I just think it looks better. So, maybe 3 or 5 or even 7. So I'm using some squares on this one just to pop it up off the page. Do the same with this one. You could also use, foam tape, or, you know, they make those really, I actually have some of those really thick glue dots. You can use those. Okay. So I sort of have this like imaginary border around the outside of my card also. Okay. And I just think those look really pretty. And you could also go in and add little ornaments, use your metallic watercolors or gel pens or acrylic markers or whatever, and, you know, add little ornaments on these, even just little spirals or little dots or whatever. This is just for inspiration, right? Okay. And then what I've been doing is for the two that are raised up, I want to do the little bases. Um, so I'm going to paint on the little bases on these. Let's see, try to make sure it's in the middle. So I'm painting on the ones that are in the back. Right on the card surface. And then this one that's right here on the edge, I'm going to do the base because we can only see half of this tree, so I'm just painting half of a base. And then for the other ones, I'm just taking a scrap piece of cardstock here. Paint some gold on there. I'm going to dry it real quick. Hang on. Pretty dry. Okay. Just cutting a little strip. Grab some of my little foam dots. Use my tweezers. There we go. Try to like tuck it under just a little bit. There we go. So I don't know. I just think they're really cute. And it's a great way to use up paper that, maybe you would just toss. Who knows? Don't know where my envelopes are. Oh, here they are. So if you're planning to send these in the mail, I think it would be really cute to also add maybe a little tree on the envelope or whatever. Or you could even add one after you seal the envelope. You could add another one here. Um, if you're going to hand deliver them, then you could go crazy on the envelope. But yeah, and of course you could add a little star on the top of each one, or you could paint some garland on there, or things like that. But I think just to keep it simple, I think these look really nice and very clean, you know? So yeah, so there's our two little cards, and we'll call this day 1 of 12. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit. I'm not sure how I feel about this gray background. I think the next time I'm going to try it with the black and see, because if I flip this over, it's black on the other side. So we'll see how that works out. But anyways, there you go. Okay. Have fun, guys. Love you. Bye for now.